Repeat that again. 30 seconds. 205. You recording, Kevin? He's recording.
Got a couple people said that's on some of the questions we expect them to.
Gotcha.
15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on? We are back, finally back in the TV station. It's been, I think, 2 years now since we've been in the station, man. But we got the whole crew back together, and we got a pretty good special episode for you guys today. For all you guys that are watching right now live via Facebook, YouTube, wherever you guys are watching live from, we told you
From the
guys
top. Cut. We're going to go from the top again, guys.
Okay, we're going from the top. See, this is
Want me to stop?
no, keep live. This is what happens, guys, when the TV purposes. Sometimes you got to cut. All right, so just bear with us. We got somebody on the boards back there, though. So if you guys do want to drop those comments in, type those comments up, and then we'll let us know. Keep the comments, because right now we're doing our Mount Rushmore special, so we're only talking about the top sneakers
Ready?
in the game.
Countdown.
So keep the
5.
comments about the top sneakers in the game. If you are dropping comments in, guys.
Is the link on Facebook?
Yeah.
Right now,
Yes.
we're gonna do
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on? We are officially back in the TV studio. The studio missed us, man. You see, we got the chairs back, everything. They threw the award up on the table for us because it's award season. We coming for another one of those. We got the whole crew back with us, and we got a special episode for you guys today. We started off a new segment called the Mount Rushmore segment, where we're going to be giving you the top in specific areas. But the first episode, we're going to start with our top 5 NBA players, one player from each position. Plus, we got a couple of honorable mention players that are going to be on the list as well. But before we get to that, let me introduce my co-host, my brother. Man, it's good to be back.
You already know, bro. We back in studio, man. It's like we never left. We had to take a little break, but we back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little upset with you, though, Trip. I'm just gonna be honest. You know what I'm saying? You know me. I'm a man of many words, and I'm rarely humble. I'm gonna be honest. You just brought one award. Like, people need to know it's a long lineage and legacy of awards for Real Fans Real Talk. And for you to bring one, it's a humble flex, though.
Because
But
it's our
all right.
first day back in the studio. I didn't want to just jump all the way out the window on the first time back in the studio since 2019. COVID had us shut down. Even though we found a way, we made a way out of no way, and we've been recording still. But it would really kind of look like, if y'all see the picture with MJ, he got all the awards out, he got the MVPs and whatnot. That's how it would really look if we put all of the awards that Real Fans Real Talk has gotten over the years. Especially if you throw in, because we got about 6 MVPs amongst the crew here. So if you add in all of those, it would definitely look like that Jordan picture with all the awards. Right?
Well, that's how you were supposed to do it, though.
I didn't want to show because on the live stream they didn't see us in the studio.
But it's fine. This is the introduction. And we want to thank the people on the live stream that tuned in with us week in, week out. And now that we're back in studio for this special segment that we're doing, we greatly appreciate it, guys. But you have to bring all the awards out, because when Floyd Mayweather comes to the ring, he don't bring one belt.
You know
He
what?
brings every belt.
I apologize.
Come on, man.
I was wrong.
Do better, Trip.
I apologize. You know what? Because my schedule was off and whatnot. Next time we come, I'm just gonna bring the whole trophy case out here.
All right.
And I'm gonna call up Justin Biggs, tell him to bring the belt.
Yeah,
too.
I like how that
Just to
sounds.
add
I like how that
that
sounds.
back to the archives. But all right, man, Eric, we got our Mount Rushmore. Even though we know Mount Rushmore is for faces on on the mountain, whatever. We understand all of that. We came to the conclusion that you cannot just have a GOAT in the NBA. We got to break this thing down by position. So we have put our votes in, in accordance to what everybody else on the live streams has been sending in their votes as well. And we have a top player from each position. That's point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. All right. But we did have a couple of guys that could possibly make it at some point. Who knows? Because a couple of those guys are still playing. So we're gonna start with honorable mention. Eric, start off with your first honorable mention.
So first and foremost, I really love this list. And I thank you again for everybody who sent in their votes and who they decided would be the best player at each position. But I like this list because, as we mentioned before, to pick one guy is a disservice to everyone else. We're not trying to knock down all the other legendary players by saying only one guy is the greatest ever do it. So we went position by position. The first honorable mention is probably the most obvious honorable mention. He's a 5-time NBA champion. He should have multiple regular season MVPs. He's the second best player at his position, so that's why he doesn't make the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
But RIP to the legend, to the Mamba, Kobe Bryant, to me, has to be the first honorable mention on the list.
Yeah. What can you say? That's Mamba mentality right there. Kobe Bean Bryant, one of the greatest to ever do it. Unfortunately, there is a guy who I think everybody knows who also plays that shooting guard position that kind of knocks him off of being the number one at the position. But when you add into all the accolades, the resume that Kobe has, all the All NBAs, all defense, All Stars, he's got an MVP, a couple of Finals MVPs. This is a guy who is truly one of the greatest to ever do it. Unfortunately, and you guys know he was taken from us a couple of years ago. We even had a whole tribute special to Kobe here, where we got our shots on and all of that. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about honorable mention to the top 5, somebody who really could be in that top 5, especially if you're not talking about positions,
right?
You might be able to leave the dogs in that top 5. But Kobe Bean Bryant, man, give that man his flowers. I mean, we gave him his flowers while he was here, but we're gonna give him his flowers again right now during our top 5 Mount Rushmore special. Kobe, yeah, right. Let's take another guard. I gotta go with another guard. You might call him a point guard, you might call him a shooting guard, you might call him a combo guard, but this gentleman, also known as the Babyface Assassin, is a 4-time NBA champion. He's a Finals MVP. He's a 2-time regular season MVP, unanimous MVP as well, and he is recognized as the greatest shooter that God ever blessed this earth with, and that is Wardell Stephen Curry.
I mean, it goes without saying. He is the greatest shooter of all time. I think it's very interesting that Steph makes the honorable mention because he really took a leap up into this conversation over the last year. Warriors winning an NBA Finals last year, him being MVP of that Finals, that kind of jumped him into the conversation. Because prior to last year, I don't think I had him above Isaiah Thomas, and I don't think I would have had him in the conversation just yet. But it's a great point. I don't know if we list him as a point guard, though, to be honest. As I feel personally, he's a combo guard. He doesn't really initiate offense. But he isn't your traditional shooting guard either because he doesn't just play off the ball. He creates so much as well, but a lot of it is for his own shot. It's tough to place him at a position, but he definitely is an honorable mention. He is a guy that should be in the conversation for one of the greatest players of all time.
Absolutely. I mean, Steph Curry continues to amaze us. And the thing about Steph Curry is the career is not over yet. So, I don't know how many more years Steph is going to play in this league, but depending on how the rest of his career goes, we could have him sneaking in to a top 5, into the top 5. Who knows? I can't say, but I don't know how his resume is going to finish. But the book is still open on Steph Curry.
I believe, again, shout out to all of the viewers and people who support the lives that we do every week. But I believe it was Scoop who had asked a question if Steph could pass Magic Johnson. We both agreed he couldn't. But as you mentioned, there's so much left for him to accomplish. There's so much that's going to go onto his resume. It's very possible that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're having a different conversation as to whether Steph should be one of the top 5 guys and included in what we're considering a Mount Rushmore of NBA players. Because there's still a lot of basketball left.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Steph is still going hard every night. Just put a piece. with ease. With ease. A couple games ago. They're in right as of right now. They're still in the playoff in the playoff race, and you know as well as anybody, all you got to do is be in the playoffs to have a chance at winning another championship.
Right.
And Steph Curry is definitely good enough to lead the Golden State Warriors to another championship or two.
Yeah.
Depending on how things shake out, but they're still in the mix. So there's still the book hasn't been officially finished with on Steph Curry. So we will see how that goes. Let's throw one more honorable mention in since we did two guards, or just, I guess one of the big ones, one of the centers.
I think this was the toughest position to pick because we had to do center, power forward, small forward, and we know with today's game, there's a lot of like just transition between power forward and the center position. For me, it's Hakeem Olajuwon because I think Hakeem is one of the greatest centers of all time. I don't put him above the guy we have as number one there, but Hakeem is very tough because Hakeem might have been ahead of his time. If Hakeem played today, he would be doing a lot of the same things that Embiid and Joker are doing. Two of the best players in the league. Obviously, Joker's a two-time MVP. Probably.
I'm sorry.
I mean, possibly. He might be even better than those guys were. His footwork was phenomenal. It's well documented. Every player over the last 20 years, at some point, we saw that quote. That tweet every summer, where the best players were trying to work out with King to learn his footwork and learn all his post moves. Kobe did it. LeBron worked with him one summer. Carmelo worked with Amari. Every player in the league over the last 20 years, at some point, has worked with Hakeem. Hakeem definitely deserves to be honorable mention. And like I said, he's slightly below the guy who does obviously take the number one spot at center.
Yeah, Hakeem the Dream. We're talking about a legitimate, elite two-way player. If you want to talk about defense, blocking shots, rebounding, he was a force to be reckoned with. But then on the offensive end, he can get to the basket, he can post up, he can step back with the mid-range, he can step back and hit the three. Not too many guys can do what Hakeem Olajuwon can do. Obviously, back-to-back NBA champion, Finals MVP. If he played in this day, I think he'd still be dominating. I guess the two guys in this era right now, Jokic and Embiid. I probably would have to compare him a little bit more to Embiid, just because Jokic is not elite on both sides of the basketball, whereas Embiid is elite on both sides of the basketball. But either way, I think, and I love Embiid, I love Jokic, but I don't even think either one of these guys hold the candle to the greatness that was Hakeem Olajuwon. So yeah.
That's a great point. I mean, Hakeem was the best center during an era of the best era of big men in the NBA.
Yes.
You got to remember in that 80s, 90s, you're talking Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Calvin Sampson. Ralph Sampson. You had Sabonis during those days. You had young Shaq, Alonzo Mourning, the Dikembe Mutombo. So, with all these great Hall of Fame centers, you still had Hakeem was the best of all those guys.
Yeah.
One of the few guys, too, I don't have the exact list of how many guys have ever done it, but he is one of the few guys to have won an NCAA championship and an NBA Finals as well.
Yeah.
So that's a short list that he's on as well. Hakeem the Dream is one of the best ever.
Now, let me say this because I know people will be like, oh, what about Will? What about Will Russell? Listen, man, we got to break it down. We got votes, man. We got a system in place. And again, I love Bill Russell. Obviously, the most winningest player of all time, 11 championships. Built the astronomical numbers, scoring. Plus, he had astronomical numbers in another area too. We're not going. That's for a different special.
He's a legend in two games.
He's a legend in two games.
He's a legend in two games.
He is a legend in two games. But Hakeem played, and you mentioned in an era of the greatest big men that we have ever seen. Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain were pretty much the kind of two big men during their era. So there's not really much to go off of. Obviously, we know when it head-to-head, Bill Russell kind of had the edge over the world. But again, that was pretty much it as far as big men at that time. Whereas again, during Hakeem's time, that's the golden era of big men in the NBA. So that's why we went with Hakeem in the honorable mention for the centers, for the big men in the league. But that'll the way to end this time. Let's go to the top five. We're gonna start from the top and work our way down since we just finished talking about Hakeem, we might as well jump straight in to the number one guy, five-time NBA champion, multiple MVP, multiple Finals MVP. Technically, he should have had an extra Finals MVP. He missed that game seven. They wanted to bring it to Magic.
Politics.
That year, but he should have had an extra Finals MVP. Held the scoring title for 40 plus years?
40 years.
40 years,
40 years.
up until this past season. The man had probably the most unguardable move I have ever seen in the history of basketball with that with the sky hook. I mean, what else can you say, man? We're not doing the ball.
Absolutely. He is without a doubt the greatest center of all time. I think one of the most accomplished players of all time as well, when you consider what he did at UCLA and all the national championships he won there, winning in Milwaukee, winning in LA, really elevating the Lakers and helping elevate the Lakers to the type of franchise that they are now. But I also think a lot is said about it, but I also think he gets overlooked the scrutiny and criticism he dealt with as a player and the way he handled it while still being able to perform at the level he did. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar not only is the greatest center of all time, in my opinion, he is one of the greatest 2 or 3 players of all time, depending on where your list falls.
Yeah.
You can't have a top 3 without Kareem being included in it. Without a doubt, he is the best center of all time.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And we definitely, listen, man, you gotta love him. He did a little acting too. You know,
He did.
He was one of the first basketball players turned athletes.
Yeah.
Turn actors rather back in the day. So you got to shout him out for that as well.
I want to hear what people think about number 4. I mean, at the 4 position in power forward. Because you and I agree. Probably one of the most skilled guys to ever play the game as well, but very quiet, flew under the radar his whole career, even though he was a 5-time NBA champion, even though he probably was the best player for about 15 years in the NBA. No major publication, no major push, but the big fundamental. Tim Duncan is the best power forward of all time. In my opinion, the list also indicates that as well. People who wrote in and said the same thing. Tim Duncan, man, again, one of the best and most fundamentally sound players you will ever see. But because he didn't have the rah-rah attitude, because he didn't have the big media push or the shoe deal behind him, he kind of flies under the radar. But I think it is well deserved. And again, the power forward position is Tim Duncan.
You think he did have a sleeper at one point? He did have one sleeper. He didn't really get that push like that. Right. But when you're talking about elite two-way players, Tim Duncan is at the top of the list. You're right. He dominated the league in his whole career. I thought he was the guy. NBA champion. We know he played for one of the greatest coaches in Coach Pop, but he led the way from when he first came in. I think that was the Spurs got the blessing of all blessings with Tim Duncan getting hurt.
Dave Robinson getting
hurt.
Yeah.
The year before Tim Duncan was up, and they wound up drafting Tim Duncan, and that thing worked out perfectly for them because he took the torch from David Robinson and carried that thing well on into the 2000s, winning multiple championships, being a new guy. And he didn't talk. He wasn't like a Gary Payton, KG type of trash talker, but the players will tell you that Tim kind of had a way of talking to you without talking to you. He could get into your head and play them type of mind games on you. One of the greatest that would do it. One thing I love about Tim Duncan is actually, like, I got a connection to Tim Duncan, and I told you the story before, but if you don't know, Tim Duncan is from St. Croix. I got a little bit of family in St. Croix. One of my older cousins actually built the basketball court in St. Croix that Tim Duncan learned how to play basketball. So I'm happy to have Tim Duncan on this. Since he was definitely my pick as the greatest power forward of all time. I don't know if there's another power forward that has a resume that really can touch Tim Duncan's resume and what he was able to accomplish during his career.
It's tough. Again, this is one of those positions, again, because of the way the game has changed and evolved. Of course, people will mention the KGs of the world. People are going to mention Karl Malone, who for a number of years was number 2 guy. But Karl Malone wasn't winning championships on this level.
Yeah.
Barkley, obviously, in the conversation.
No chips.
Right, no chips. You got a guy like Giannis, who possibly is going to be in this conversation. years from now. But Tim Duncan again, I also think Tim Duncan. We gotta get with the stats score on this because I believe Tim Duncan has we talked about the dominance.
Yes.
He has the longest gap between his first championship and his fifth one. I think they're like 14 years apart, 15 years apart. Nobody else in the NBA had ever won championships that far apart from each other. He won his rookie year, as you mentioned, in San Antonio. They beat my beloved Knicks, and then his last one was against Miami right before he retired from San Antonio.
And he was the guy. He was the anchor of both those championship teams. So you gotta put respect on Tim Duncan's name. He is our power forward, the top power forward on the list. Um, I
We're going
gotta,
to the small forward.
I gotta take the lead on this one.
I don't think anybody's going to be surprised who it is.
That's a guy, from Akron, Ohio, four-time NBA champion, four-time Finals MVP, four-time regular season MVP. He got a bunch of All NBAs. He got some All Defensive. He got a couple of All-Star Game MVPs. I think he was 19 appearances in the All-Star Game, starting and whatnot. Kid from Akron, man, the chosen one that came straight from high school, and was deemed to be the guy. He definitely became the guy in the league. Recently, this past season, he took over from another guy on this list, the number one spot on the all-time point scoring list. He was already the total point scoring list when you count any playoffs and regular season. And on top of that, and actually, I think might even be bigger than everything I just said was the work that this man has done off the court, for our youth, for the community, and everything that he continues to do for social justice. King James, LeBron James. LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying he is absolutely the greatest small forward of all time. He's lived up to all the hype, as you mentioned. He's conducted himself in a way that I don't think any other sports athlete or any athlete in general has ever carried himself in that way. With all the pressure he's had at 18 years old, you don't hear about him in the tabloids. You don't hear about none of the nonsense. He's a family man. He gives back to the community. He's done a great job as over there. There ain't much to say. It's LeBron. That's it.
I'll let you take the number two spot.
I think no, he's the number one spot.
He's number one spot. But he's two guard. He's number
but he is the two guard. I think he's the greatest player of all time, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion. LeBron is in that conversation as well. We talked about the top three. LeBron is there as well. But the guy that's number one, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, he's from Brooklyn, right?
I mean, what can I say?
He's from Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn.
But
the six-time champ, six-time Finals MVP, 10-time defensive first team. He also won the Defensive Player of the Year, multiple-time slam dunk champion. Owner of an NBA team now, though he might be selling it.
You might put out put a bid in.
Yeah, I got a little something. I can put a little something on it. I got my taxi back, so I can put a little something.
I bet. We good. Don't grab that this year.
Nah. We buy the team. No problem. We just buy the team.
Cool.
He is also the greatest sneaker brand in the world has ever seen as well. Michael Jordan, man, the best two guard ever. And again, as I mentioned, Kobe, in most cases, would have been in this spot.
Yes.
But there is a gentleman that's already there, number 23. He changed the game. He turned and helped make the game a global game. We saw what he did with the Dream Team. We've seen what he's done with his brand throughout all these years. Michael Jordan, man.
Michael Jordan is the reason that I am not a Knicks fan, because I grew up being a Jordan fan.
He's the reason that I cried a lot of times. Thanks for reminding me, Trip.
I didn't. My bad.
You like to do that. You like to do that.
I apologize. But yeah, man, MJ is GOAT. He's going to be in another one of our Mount Rushmore specials as well. And we talked about sneakers and whatnot. But I mean, Michael Jordan is the blueprint. When you talk about great, this is the greatest of the greats. Michael Jordan, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I love, and I did kick you mentioned. I did kick out the fact that he was born right here in Brooklyn. You gotta love that because we play him. We play him. He's one of us. He's Brooklyn. He's born here. That's it. I don't care how long he lived here. It might have been only for a year, but the man was born right here in Brooklyn. So he's a part of that Brooklyn family. And what he was able to accomplish in his career, from cutting the high school basketball team to going to North Carolina, winning at the highest level, going into the pros. Larry Bird said, is Jesus? What he said? Is Jesus disguised as Michael Jordan? Just the dominance in basketball for such a long amount of time, and truly, there's only a handful of guys that you can even really mention in the same breath as Michael Jordan. Truly the GOAT, one of the most iconic figures in sports, period. And the legacy, when you're talking about sneakers, the fact that the man has not played since 2001. So 21 years, the man has not played in 21 years, and he still has the number one selling sneaker by far. Like, it goes, MJ is all the way up here, then it's LeBron sneakers is down here, and then everybody else comes after that. But the fact that the man has not stepped on the court in 21 years as far as playing, and he still has the number one selling shoe, it is crazy. You gotta check out, they got the movie coming out too right now. Talking about
Yeah.
that whole
Talking
thing
about the
too.
Jordan ones and the concept of creation of the Jordan ones.
Mm-hmm.
Just Michael, it's just amazing, man.
Yeah.
I think there's only 4 franchises that have ever repeated in the league. 2 of them are Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
He's done it twice. 6 championships in 8 years. The only other person that can say that is Bill Russell.
Yeah.
No one else is even in that conversation. Michael Jordan also. There's a lot of stats that float around. This is not to knock nobody else down. You highlighted that from the beginning. We're not knocking anyone else down. But through the course of Michael Jordan's career, he only played with one other All-Star.
Yeah.
So it was, like you said, it was clearly Mike and everybody else. He was dominating the league throughout the 90s. He cost my Knicks so many chances at an NBA championship and the finals. As I told you when we was alive, my favorite Mike moment. I really thought the Knicks were turning the corner and becoming great. And then Mike not only said I'm back and then dropped the double nickel in the Garden in his first game back at the Garden.
Yeah, you gotta love it. You gotta put a lot of respect on Mike's name. Now I'm gonna just say, Space Jam. One of my favorite movies growing up, still one of my favorite movies. And that man stretched his arm out for that last shot, and it got all the way back to the control room back there. He got the last 2 points. Like, come on, man. He got Bugs Bunny on his squad. Like, you can't beat that, man. Shout out to Michael Jordan. He goes. But last spot on the list, the point guard, the floor general, goes to another multiple time NBA champion, MVP, Finals MVP, All NBA, the Magic Man, Irvin Magic Johnson,
Greatest field general.
greatest floor general ever. The man brought the Showtime to LA, to Hollywood. He brought Showtime to Hollywood when he came into the league. And he pretty much dominated it from start to finish. And so the dream team when they walked in the room and said it's sheriff time. Magic had it on lock. But yeah, greatest point guard to ever play this game is Magic Johnson.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, we're talking Magic, 5-time NBA champion, a guy who sacrificed so much of his game. And I think that goes kind of under the radar as well because he had a lot of veterans.
Yes.
He had to come in and keep everyone happy, but winning an NBA championship as a rookie, 8 finals appearances in 11 years, crazy to think about. Everything Magic did. And Magic was a little bit ahead of his time, too. Magic had played a little later on. He would have gotten over super good. He talked about it, too. He had an opportunity to go with Nike.
He did.
And he missed that opportunity.
Yeah.
And his career was cut short. Obviously we know why. But Magic, man, is on the list, no doubt about it. I don't even think it's close. There's some great point guards, but I think the 3 positions we ended with, small forward, shooting guard. Shooting guard is a little closer. And point guard, those are clear-cut winners. You can't have any conversation about the point guard position without starting with Magic Johnson.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't do it. And Magic has done pretty well for himself. He did have to cut his NBA career short, but he's done pretty well for himself since then. He got a couple theaters, got some Starbucks out there. He's got a couple of endorsements. He doesn't own a team, in Major League Baseball. So
Had a small stake in the Lakers at one time.
yeah,
He's done pretty well. His portfolio is pretty nice.
he's definitely done pretty well. All right, guys, listen. That is our Mount Rushmore of the NBA and the greatest players of all time. We broke down this position. We do got to get up out of here, but I definitely want to shout out everybody on the live stream right now. And I want to say this: make sure you guys are tuned in with us every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. on Verizon 43, right here in New York City. If you're not in New York City, don't worry, you can still watch them anywhere in the world. Just go to realfansrealtalk.com. And make sure you're with us on all our social media, man. Instagram, Twitter, at RealFanTalk, Facebook.com/RealFanRealTalk, and subscribe to that YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Philip Productions. And finally, if you are not already, make sure you subscribe to both the Real Fans Real Talk and the Sanchez Show podcast. We got a whole lot of content coming for you guys, so just stay tuned, man. Eric, this is the final question. We get out of here.
As always, man, appreciate everybody who tunes in with us every week, man. We greatly appreciate it. I'm so happy to be back in the studio. I want to thank the crew, man. You guys took the time on your Saturday to come through and help us put this together, man. So I greatly appreciate you guys, and I applaud you guys, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys. We love y'all, man, for showing up for us. We gonna always show up for y'all as well. With that being said, for myself, Trip Young, my co-host, Eric Sanchez, aka Leslie Two Names. Get out of here. Yep. It's on live over there. All right, man. Special one is done and out of the way, guys. We're gonna take a quick little break, and we're gonna get back to it in just a minute. But we appreciate you guys tuning in as always. If you guys do have comments, drop them in. The next Mount Rushmore we're gonna do is the top sneakers of all time. So make sure you guys stick with us. And like I said, if you guys do have any comments, just drop them off in the comment section, and we will get to it.
We're going straight into episode 2.
All right. Okay.
Stand by. Let the water off the set. Behind you on the other side.
Huh?
Put it behind you on the other side. We want you to move it, clear it out. It's still visual.
Good.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
What's really good, and welcome back to a special episode of Real Fans Real Talk. As you see, we're back in studio, Trip. We got something very special for the fans, man. So I want to start off first and foremost. Let me introduce my brother, Trip Young.
What's going on, man? Really? Something like that?
We're going to get to it, man. Now, listen, we spoke with the people. We asked them some of the topics they wanted to hear about. We did the top 5 or the Mount Rushmore of NBA. Of course, we had to do 5 because 5 players in court. Now we're doing top 5 sneakers of all time. Bias, obviously, because this is our preferences. But we want to hear from you guys as well. With that being said, Trip, what's some honorable mentions? What's some things that didn't make our list this time?
Well, I'm gonna start right here. Actually, with these joints. Could y'all get this shot on the table real quick? I'm sorry. I know there's a room they're gonna put the feet up on the table, but Air Max 95. What we had in the studio back there? Could I get the Air Max 95s on the screen? Come on, man. They got to get that shot. I need that shot for the people at home. All right. I know they waiting. Man. I see the cameras moving, but we going. There we go. Right there. See that? That's the Air Max 95. And these actually special. You can't even get these. Like, I had to call Nike personally, and they customized these joints for me. One of one. But Air Max 95. First of all, 95 was a good year in general. But when these joints came out, I feel like everybody had to have a pair of Air Max 95. I think if you were a sneakerhead in general, you have Air Max 95 in your closet. I got about 4 different ones right now in my closet. Man, I love the Air Max, man. It's a dope sneaker. And Eric, I think you know right now my sneaker collection is pretty much down to Jordans and Air Max. So I had to have the 95s in my honorable mention.
Oh, that's a fact. The 95 is a classic. It's a great summertime shoe.
Yes.
Some shorts, you know what I'm saying? You got some nice fit. The Air Max 95 are always a go-to. They just didn't make the list, but it's not anything against the 95.
Yeah.
There's so many other great sneakers to pick from.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I'm a Jordan head. That was the era we grew up in. As you can see what I have on now. And anybody who's tuned in the past, I wear a lot of Jordans on the show. So we try to not be so Jordan heavy for this particular topic. Right. But it's tough because I mean pretty much anything from the Jordan 1 through like the Jordan 17.
You could have took 5 Jordans.
Yeah, you could have went all 5 Jordans.
No.
But we tried to not go that route. All right. There are some Jordans on the list. We do have some other honorable mentions. There's one I do want that's an honorable mention for me.
Mhm.
They came out in the late 90s. They were Penny Hardaway 4s with the strap on them. And those are near and dear to me for one specific reason. Is why I wanted them drinks so bad when they came out. I couldn't get them when they first came out. We finally found them somewhere, but they were a full size too small. And I remember telling my mom, "No, I'm good. I can wear them. I'm good," because I want them to drink so bad. After 2 days of my toes just being crunched up the whole time, my mom was pissed at me because you can't take the sneaker back. They pretty much got shelved, so they still look new forever because I can't wear them. But those specifically, Penny Hardaway had a crazy collection and silhouette of sneakers as well. But those are honorable mention for me.
No, I'm actually okay with that because those were my first day of school, 7th grade sneakers.
But you had your size though.
Yeah, I had the right
Okay,
size.
you got your
Yeah,
size. Yeah, you didn't pull one of my moves.
no. I definitely had the right size sneaker on, but those were definitely my first day of school. I remember the fit too. I had blue jeans on. I had this white button up on. It's like how jean shirts was like in back then.
Yeah.
So I had that with the pennies on, and I forgot what kind of hat I had on. I remember the fit. I remember that day like perfectly. I was thinking to be that dude in school today.
Yeah.
With these sneakers on, all the ladies is gonna want me in school. If I get to school watch, they gonna be all on me, and I was right.
Had the fit laid out for like 4 days.
I had it ready, man. Everything was pressed, nice, laid out, slick. And then you got to figure out how you want to tie your shoes, how you want to fix them up. Once you get ready, and then the work. I said, I like, obviously, everybody loves the job, but I like to see people see me walk. Because, especially when you got the new joints on, you can't see the new sneakers in all of you. I mean, you got to walk somewhere. Not too far, because I try not to walk more than like 5 blocks in a new pair of sneakers. I don't like to crease my joints up. But you got to walk a little bit just so they can see the flavor.
Yeah, I agree. And again, that's the era we grew up in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Getting on the train, getting on the bus, or walking to school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most people analyze the fit from the floor up. They check and see what's on your feet, especially first day of school.
Oh, absolutely. I was actually proud of myself because I had went because I worked with kids, so I was in school a couple of days ago filming, and I had the black and royal blue 5s on, and the kids were like, "Oh, Mister, I like those." So you're good when the kids in the school run up to you and say, "I like those." I mean, you still out here doing the right thing.
Right, you get into it. They recognize the drip and see what's going on. One of the other joints too that's on my honorable mention, just because he's one of my favorite players of all time. Mm-hmm. And again, a backstory. I remember the first time I ever went to Puerto Rico, 6th grade. My grandmother took me to Puerto Rico for Christmas break. Okay. I had the Deion Sanders Diamond Turf. That's when we were the 49ers.
Yep.
And them joints were so crazy to me because I wanted to be Deion. I really wanted to be Deion. I'm not gonna lie. I really wanted to be Deion. I even started signing my last name with the $sign on it. It was a wild time. But the Deion Sanders, I'm telling you, man, that 94 Diamond Turf is one of the best sneakers ever. It flies under the radar because Deion didn't have he didn't have any longevity in the sneaker. Yeah. But those particular joints.
I will say this, right? The 90s was a good era of sneaker design. Mm-hmm. Because I remember having Robins, remember Pippins, obviously Mike's, Pennies, Barclays, Dion was around that time. Bo Jackson had sneakers that was pretty popular at that time. Like 90s might be the golden era of sneaker design because honestly now I don't and you guys are gonna see this. There's nobody from now on the list. Nobody who's currently in the NBA who has signature sneakers is in the top five right now. And I don't know what happened with the sneaker designers, but it just ain't been the same.
Damn, you took me back when you mentioned the Robins. They had that funny lace on the
Yes.
inside of the year. The Robins was very, very unique.
David Robinson had
Yeah.
sneakers out there. Like,
Scotty had a couple of joints too.
yeah.
He had about like two different pairs that came out that was really nice. The Robins, that's a great point. The Bo Jackson, if you're from New York,
Yeah.
you probably have a pair of Bo Jacksons at some point.
Mhm.
You know, it's just a given, man.
Shaq, we had the black top pumps.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it was a different time with sneaker design back then. I don't know what's going on now. I've seen like I mean, how many pairs of LeBron dollars?
Ron is up to like 14,
I might have seen
14, 15.
two pair that I like.
Well, I like the
You know,
Braun
that's my
stuff.
guy.
Yeah, I like the Braun stuff that was coming out when that last year he was in Cleveland right before he went to Miami.
Okay.
Because then he had that South Beach edition, which I think was like the sixth installment of the Jordan. I mean, of the LeBron.
Yeah.
That's also different too. Like when we talk Jordan, we saying numbers. With other sneakers, we don't go about it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
But
he had a
because-
couple of
because
installments.
I think they look so damn similar. There was a
Yeah.
distinct difference from 1 to 20. I don't go past the 20 because after that it just got crazy. But from 1 to 20, there was a distinct difference in each Jordan.
Mm.
I feel like a lot of like the KDs, the Kyries, and the LeBrons, I feel like they're similar. Like it's not like it's like maybe little small things, but I feel like they're all kind of similar. It's the same, man. And we from a place where fashion is, everybody was into their sneakers and their hats, whatever, what I'm saying. So we from that type of place. So we just like, I don't know, it's kind of fell off for me. I know people still buying these
Changed,
sneakers,
man.
but yeah, it definitely has changed.
It's definitely changed. Let's get into the list.
Okay.
No particular order.
We got I see we got some.
Yeah.
We got a comment on the line.
Yeah, your director Clifford said, "Don't forget the Griffies,
The Griffins too. You can throw the Griffins on the list.
The Griffies.
the Force
But
Ones."
that's what I'm saying. That's the golden era of sneaker design right there. It's not the same now. Like we actually, before COVID hit and they shut us out the studio, we had a list of the top 5 worst sneakers, and they were all from this era of sneakers. Wasn't none of the old school sneakers.
No, there's no old speaker.
Which old sneakers? That's
Yeah, when Lloyd Banks
Oh,
said,
that don't count.
when Lloyd Banks said, "It's to get uglier than the masterpiece sneaker."
I guess he did play in the NBA, but yeah, I don't really count the next
He
speakers.
said, "It's to get uglier than a masterpiece sneaker." You know exactly what he meant.
Like we might have had to fight. If I was Master P and I seen Lloyd Banks, we might have had to fight at that point.
I mean, because the Kembe had a sneaker. The Kembe did something with Adidas.
Kembe did have a sneaker. Like it was different times.
Yeah.
It was definitely different times.
And I gotta say, I know we talk the Jordan brand. We're talking original Jordans because some of them team Jordans is trash. Like I ain't like the way he did my man Melo. He could have gave Melo a better design. Melo was out here balling in some joints that was trash.
There's only one team Jordan that I felt like was a good sneaker, and it was a popular sneaker, and that was the Eddie Jones.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people got the Eddie Jones sneakers, but other than that, it's like Mike just took all the good designs for him, so he said, "I don't care about nobody
Mike
else."
don't put no budget in nobody
Yeah.
else's sneaker like that.
Because the rest of them sneakers, man, everybody said I seen that on Team Jordan was being trash. I don't know.
But let's get into some things on this.
Okay.
We picked 5.
Mhm.
It's our list along combined with some of the people who wrote in and let us know what they thought are all-time classics.
Okay.
So give me one that's on the list.
We have to go. You know what? I'm going to start with a New York classic. That gained even larger nationwide and even worldwide notoriety with the assist of my main man Nelly. And then later on again got another rebirth with ASAP Rocky. And that is the all white Air Force Ones. That's the summer sneaker. That's the spring sneaker. That is one of the most iconic sneakers. Period. not named after Michael Jordan. The Air Force One. Some people call them Uptown, depending on where you're from.
Thank you.
You can go with the highs, you can go with the mids, you can go with the lows. I personally stick with the lows. But you can wear them with your white tee and just some regular jeans, and you can go anywhere with it.
Oh, that's a fact. Air Force Ones, that's their name that was given to them by Nike.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, I'm from the Bronx, and we call them Uptown. And in the summertime, a pair of white on white lows, that held you down.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, all of us in this room, we had that first day of school shopping list that we try to give our mom or dad.
Mm-hmm.
And we always try to put two sneakers on there. One of them was like, I need a pair of white on whites. To just crispy to start out, like you said, white tee, polo, button up, whatever you went with, you could not miss with the white on white Uptown. And it was dope too later on when they did the mids and they had the NYC written on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because when we was going out of town, you know how this trip. Then cats really knew, like, oh, he not from here.
Yeah.
He got a color I've never
Yeah.
seen before.
Exactly.
And they say NYC on it.
And that's the thing with the Air Force is, now I think I won't say the past 15 years, it's kind of been strictly all about the whites.
Right.
But again, on the 90s, on that flavor rush, you had so many different variations of that sneaker that you wanted to get. I remember they had the Michigan Wolverines sneaker. You had the St. Patrick's joint. You had so many variations of that sneaker that I was like, that was the one. And again, Uptown was even it wasn't even just Uptown. Man. I think it was more New York City. I think the world kind of started calling the Air Force One after Nelly dropped the song.
Right.
But prior to that, I don't even think as a kid I called them Air Force One. I only called them Uptown.
Yeah, I only called them Uptown. It's also crazy too over the last couple of years, right? You talk about the white on white. The all black joints kind of got the the front of the jokes. Yeah, the stigma now.
The Buck Nasty.
CJ, if you rode around with the all black joints, people was clutching their pearls. They moved away from you. It's getting crazy.
The only people that wear all black Air Forces now is criminals and Giannis. That's it. That's the only person.
Oh man.
You can't go ahead and Buck Nasty. I'm sorry.
What if that shit works you? What if you just don't ball because you go to work?
Nah, think about it. Even on Snowfall, my man was wearing the Buck Nasty, Lamar. And I was the crazy dude that was out here killing everybody, and he let his doodle bag off on the dude. That's what he killed him.
He's on BFF.
Yeah, on BFF. Yeah. Like only criminals and y'all that's wear the Buck Nasties now. I'm telling y'all right now, don't let me see you in a pair of Buck Nasties, okay? No, those are a no go. I don't want to see you wearing the Buck Nasties no more.
Don't show up to the function with the Buck Nasty.
Yeah,
everybody gonna leave.
You know how they canceling stuff over the past 10 years? The Buck Nasties got canceled, okay? So that is it. No more, no mas.
Okay, all right. So we went Air Force One. They said a classic, 30 plus years, a must-have for any summertime. I'm gonna give you one that's on my list, and it's my personal number one. Okay. I got the silhouette on now, the Jordan 11. Jordan 11 to me is all-time classic. All-time classic, man. All-time classic. Can we get a side? Yeah, right. All-time classic, man. Don't matter which ones you go with. Over the last few years, the color schemes have changed a little bit. You got the all red joints. They had the white and blue UNC 82 joints. But the Space Jams are always going to be the go-to. Yes. When you see somebody come through with the Space Jam, you already know you're staring at the shoe. You're going to analyze how new they are. Did they run through them? You know what I'm saying? And you're always going to recognize those as some legendary shoes. But for me, they are all-time classic. The patent leather just hits it.
I agree. And again, Eric, it's like you could literally throw a Jordans in and take all of these spots, but the Space Jam joints, we spoke about, in the last special, with our Watch My NBA players, how iconic just the movie was, and when the sneaker comes with it, those, such a legendary pair of Jordans. You just you gotta love them, man. There's not what else can you say, man? They've been in songs, mentioned so many times. Yeah, man, it's one of them ones, man. If you ain't got a pair of 11s, you gotta get you a pair of 11s. Sorry.
Yeah. What else you got? Give me another one you got on the
I'm gonna stick with Jordan. For this pair of sneakers, and the reason why I'm gonna go to this sneaker is because this was actually a sneaker for me as a kid I didn't like. I didn't like it until I became an adult, and I want to say over the past
Hello.
5 years, and that's the Air
This is
Jordan
Kevin.
3.
What's happening?
I realized as an adult how
Uh-huh.
comfortable those sneakers. I think those are my most comfortable
Yes.
pair of sneakers. Period. The Air Jordan 3s.
No, I'm not ready.
So
I'll be ready at 3:30.
I think those are
I'll be
definitely
ready
the
at
top
3:30.
5 pair.
Yes.
Yeah, I fell in love with them as
Okay.
an adult. I'm doing to cop another pair, but they got something dropping soon. So I'm gonna try to cop those. Listen, all you people out there with these damn bots and buying all the sneakers before anybody can get to them.
Ruining the sneaker game.
Can't stand y'all people. You and the damn who's that lady that worked for Nike? Her son that bought all the damn sneakers up and had the garage with all the sneakers. I can't stand you either, man.
Yeah, they won the sneaker game. The Jordan 3 is iconic. He won the slam dunk contest. But also at the time, even though they're more mids than actually low top,
Yeah.
they were considered low tops, and they were like one of the first basketball shoes
Yes.
that was a low top. But yeah, it's standing the test of time, no matter what colorway. As you mentioned, one of the most colorful, one of the most comfortable sneakers you'll find, and also again one of the most iconic. As soon as you see them walk in the room, you know where they are.
You got another comment?
Somebody said Jordan 13,
Jordan 13.
The 13s are legendary. The 13s
Yes.
are,
and they are the most comfortable.
What's the name on the comment?
Your director, Clifford.
No way. Get out of here.
The 13s are legendary, especially in the original colorway, the black with the red on the side. I thought was the dopest one. But the Flint joints is tough.
Yes.
There's a lot of good 13s as well, man.
Mm-hmm.
We got 3 down. We got 2 more to go.
Okay.
You just said it 3. You said it 3.
Mm-hmm.
We've done the 11. We've done the Air Force One.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take it away from those guys. It's another Nike one. But this guy, he has. I think a lot of people know him more for what he's done in media now than what he did as a player because it's been so long since he played.
Okay.
But at the time, he was truly a bully on the court, and I thought these are always fire. The Nike CB34, the Charles Barkley joint, super tough. 94, as you mentioned.
Yes.
Again, 90s, right?
What they gonna do, man?
These were the second pair of sneakers that came out while he was with the Phoenix Suns.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually coming back out again. So here we are 20 plus years later, almost 30 years later. I think there's like the 4th installment of them coming out. But the Nike CB34s with the air bubble, this was right around the time where every sneaker had that air bubble.
Yes. Yep.
The colorway was tough on them, black, white with just that little bit of purple.
The design was hard.
Right.
Like, that was another one of my first day of school sneakers.
There you go.
I'm actually trying to get them again now. They did a release a couple of years ago. I was trying to catch it, but again, damn box stealing all the sneakers. It's hard to get sneakers again because I'm the type of person. I'm not paying more than the retail value for a sneakers. I don't care how bad I want them.
It's stuck in the days.
I am. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not paying more. Whatever the sneaker costs, that's all I'm paying. I'm not going. I go on the sneakers app, but I'm not going to the other apps where it's going to be 400, 500. I'm not doing all that. I can't. I stand on that, man. I don't do that. But I'm gonna catch him when I catch him, and it'll be just like my first day of school all over again.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to that extreme. But sometimes you got to pay a little extra. But you're right. We ain't got time, man. We at an age and we're in careers now where we can't be standing around or sitting around all day on a computer waiting for the drop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some guys got that type of time. We don't.
Yeah.
You want to give the people the last one that's on the list? I think this one's super iconic as well. And this one is also stood the test of time.
Yes. And again, and I'm actually happy because it's not named Jordan on this one. The foam posits. I think they were a sneaker that when they first came out, man, everybody had a pair of foam. Like you gotta love the foam, man. They're another signature iconic shoe. So many different flavors have come out over the years, different variations. So yeah, we had to put the foams up in.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the foams was the first joints that actually cracked the $200 mark. At the time, like you were still paying $150, $175 for Jordans, but foams was the first one. Like I said, because it wasn't a Jordan sneaker, it created this intrigue where everybody wanted to know like what's so special about this shoe.
Yeah.
And then as you started to see it on people's foot and how just the look, the jeans, with sweats, with shorts.
Mm-hmm.
it just picked up time over time. Now we have different colorways with the phones. Them and also the Barclays too had that unique feature where because they already had like that natural booty inside of it, you didn't have to lace them up. You could leave your laces loose. It's true. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't have to tie the sneaker with for it to still fit tight around your foot.
You know, New Yorkers don't ever tie their sneakers.
Right. That's why we loved it even more. It was like I could let the shoelaces dangle and my foot isn't flopping around.
Yeah, exactly. And why we don't tie sneakers with that? Like,
It's got a different style.
I ain't talking about sneakers since the third grade. I think that's where it stopped at. Since then, but yeah, man, that's one thing about New York, man. The flavor in New York. I mean, this is why we want the fashion capital of the world, and we are the trendsetters. Everybody wants to, they follow where New York is going because, we've been setting trends for 50, 60, 70 years. New York been setting trends. And, the other places around the world, they see what we doing over here, and then they follow suit.
That's a fact, man. That's the list. Like I said, there's some great honorable mentions. We saw the comments as well. Please make sure you guys comment and let us know what you didn't hear on the list or what you think should have made the list. But yeah, Trip, you want to take us home on that note, man?
Yeah. Listen, make sure that you guys are rocking with us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. Subscribe to that YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Sport Fans Production. And don't worry, if you're not in New York City, you can't watch us on Verizon 43 on Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Don't worry. All you got to do is go to the website, realfansrealtalk.com. Click that red button on the homepage, and you can watch from anywhere in the world. And make sure you guys subscribe to both the Real Fans Real Talk and the Sanchez Show podcast on all major streaming platforms. And yeah, man, just stay locked in with us, man. We're not going nowhere. Big shout out to the crew. Once again, we truly appreciate you guys taking y'all time out to come rock with us. The band is back together. Love y'all guys, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're gonna get ready to wrap up again. Thank you, especially thank you to the crew taking the time to rock with us today, man. Make sure without them there is no us. The show can't go on. You know what I'm saying? Also, thank you everybody who tuned into the live. We greatly appreciate it. We're gonna be back live again next Saturday. We'll figure out a time, but probably early, right?
Y'all know how we do. We be all over the place, but y'all will get the content, so don't worry.
We'll see. And we're also working on something special. We know there's a big time fight coming up in April.
Yes.
Javante Davis, Ryan Garcia. We're working on something special for that one as well. We want to not only give you guys our insight and predictions, but we want to hear from you guys as well.
And we're gonna have one of our friends in the boxing community come in and rock out with us for that special. We ain't gonna say who it is just yet.
Don't tell
Because
nobody.
y'all know we got a lot of friends in the boxing world though. So I ain't gonna say the name, but just be on the lookout for that. Because we plugged in.
That's a fact.
The boxing community, they know what's up.
That's a fact. We're gonna wrap up on that note. My brother Trip Young. I am Eric Sanchez. This is Real Fans Real Talk, man. We out here.
Yes. All right, man. For everybody on the live, we appreciate you rocking out with us. We gave y'all a glimpse of what we do inside the TV studio. Next time y'all see us, though, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back in separate places. But it's still gonna be that same good content that y'all been following for all these years. So just stay tuned, man, and keep rocking out with us.